Fossil Rim Wildlife Center is dedicated to the conservation of species in peril, conducting scientific research, training of professionals, responsible management of natural resources, and public education. Through these activities, they provide a diversity of compelling learning experiences that inspire positive change in the way people think, feel, and act with nature. Another weekend. Today we are in Glen Rose, Texas. Now we are going for safari. This is Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. We reached 7:30 here. We booked the guided tour and got the time slot at 8 o'clock. This is Naveen. Welcome back to another new episode of Tint and Travel. Time is 5:50. 101 miles to the destination. It will take 1 hour 36 minutes. Arrival at 7:24. Yeah, now we are in Glen Rose city limit. We are approaching Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. Dinosaurs. Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. We arrived. 7:35 now. We have some stuff for our breakfast. Food items are not allowed during the safari. Only the sealed water bottles are allowed. Now we are going for safari. We reached 7:30 here. We booked the guided tour and got the time slot at 8 o'clock. So we need to report at least 15 minutes before the time slot. It will start daily from 8 o'clock till 4:30. We booked the first slot. It is just 101 miles from our place. Took 1 hour 45 minutes to reach here. Two options are there. We can take our own car and go for self tour, or we can book for guided tour. We have booked for guided tour because I'll get an opportunity to click some photos. Otherwise I'll be driving and poor people, you don't know how to photograph. That's why I opted for the guided. This is the guided tour admission entrance. It looks like we'll go by this type of vehicle. See? So we scanned our tickets here. Now waiting for the vehicle. Time is 8 o'clock. The safari will start now. This is guided tour. It will take 2.5 hours to complete the safari. So it will start now. Right? Excited?
Yeah, but we've been in a safari in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So
Each will get one corn. So we can feed animals.
And then, you know, when we stop or if we're just ever so barely,
I got 2 cups for free.
Don't eat, okay? It's not for you, it's for animals.
I will eat it. I'm a foodie. I might eat it.
like I said, thanks for coming out here early. We only do these 8 o'clock tours during this month and probably next month, but it's one of the best tours of the day. Park's not even open yet. So a lot of times the animals are ready to see some people, ready to get some food out here. So I think it's one of our best tours out there. Welcome to Fossil Rim. We got about 1,800 acres out here, a little over 1,800 acres, but we drive through about 900 of them today, through 4 different pastures. We got a little over 1,100 animals out here. Of course, that number changes daily because it's springtime. Well, I guess summertime these days, but we're still having babies out here. Coming up on the left, we'll see a couple different animals over here.
Let it come here.
That one might be it.
These guys are native to India, and almost immediately you can tell a major difference between our males and our females. They are what we call sexually dimorphic, meaning the males are going to look different than your female. Black color, which gives them that name black buck, and our females are going to have that darker tan color.
Black bucks, the male's horns can hit somewhere about that 18 to 20 inch range.
Ecosystems, that ecosystem would start to fall apart without them there.
So with your wildebeest, the reason they're a keystone species.
Free housing that we have for them. Also walking up on us right now is the common wildebeest, and are a majorly migratory species.
One of the other cool things about your wildebeest is that they all typically calve within about a 3-week period. So we go from no babies to about 20 to 25 babies every year. So it's a really fun time to be out here. You'll see we've got some more adults out here on the left, a couple more babies hanging out over there, and then we've got quite a few underneath this tree area over here as well. We should get a little bit closer to them as we come around the corner as well. These guys are going to be a large antelope species. So with our roan antelope, these guys, you can see we've got some babies in the mix over there, some adults in the mix. If you look at that coloration, that black goes right there through their eyes and in line with the horns. So going through, this is one of our 3 antelope species out here that can kill lions. These guys a little bit more. We'll see some more of our wildebeest out here on the left over here. You can see a pretty good group of our babies born right there in that first area.
And this is what we call our bachelor herd. As you may have noticed with the other herd, there was one male and the rest were female. These guys are the males who do not have a herd of females to hang around with just yet.
We've got 2 Indian species, but you know, a lot of that comes down to the fact that we are pretty similar in weather, temperature, even some of this landscape is pretty similar to what a lot of our African species would see. Coming up right here on the right, we're going to see some emus. Now with these guys, if you want, you can take some of your pellets and put them right there on the edge, kind of where you put your elbow or your hands, and they'll come over there and they'll eat the pellets right off the edge of the truck. They're pretty gentle about it.
Which really means that they have...
Oh my god, wait, don't think that. This is scary.
That neck, you can see that kind of light blue white coloration that they have. That's kind of a mood ring for them. Versus if you see that get to be really dark, it's excitement or danger. So like I said, kind of a mood ring for these guys. Rat-type birds can't fly. Of course, if you're going to live in Australia and you can't fly, the least you can do is run pretty fast. These guys can run at about 35 miles per hour. Crepuscular, which is just a big fancy science word that means that they typically hang out in the shade during the day and they come out to graze during dusk and dawn. So a lot of times when we see our greater kudu, they in the shade, you're going to see quite a few of our eastern mountain bongos. Some are laying down, some are standing up.
Ryan said they have those vertical stripes, same as the greater kudu. This is used as a type of camouflage, as both of these species are what we call a forest edge species.
But the Gemsbok, these guys are going to be one of your largest oryx species. With the Gemsbok over here, really a cool species. First of all, if you get a good side profile of these guys, you know, they look like a horse. And then all... We've got a couple addicts right here on the left-hand side. They're going to have that nice white body, that brown toupee, and those spiraled horns. That water. So in order to save all the water that they do get, these guys don't sweat. Zero sweating no matter how hot degrees. Even on a hot day out here, you don't normally see these guys sweating. Or I mean panting. Although your body temperatures can hit those upper degrees, what cannot hit those upper degrees as she talked about earlier, a lot of babies grow horns pretty fast. If you look out there, you can see some don't have them, some do have them. These are our one species out here that has the ability to kill the lion and will stand up to those lions. Like we mentioned earlier, our Gemsbok will typically run first. These guys will stand their ground. Very aggressive species. You can see these guys even kind of shooing each other around when they do go to eat. A little bit on the younger side, he's not super dark yet, but the males can get up to like a black color versus the females will all stay this kind of same color, but you can see some good shade variation in them, darker and lighter. Typically, these guys are going to be a matriarchal species. So in front of us, we can see two different species. We've got fallow deer everywhere around us right now. We got a bunch of girls on our...
We can feed these?
Yeah, oh yeah, we can feed everybody else. Our sable antelope are our only ones we don't feed here at Fossil Rim. So yeah, definitely feed everyone else. Our fallow deer, these guys are a European deer. These guys came over with the fallow deer, don't care where they live as long as they're not super hot or super cold. Fallow deer in just about every continent except for Antarctica. With these guys, they've got about 14. Now coming up in the mix over here, we've got one of our native boys. That's going to be this white-tailed deer right here on our left. You can point him out again. He's a little bit smaller, and then formation. That's that really wide formation that we're seeing on our and moose have that paw of the day is why it's so exciting to be on these 8 o'clock tours, is because we get to see this massive amount of animals all together. So with our fallow deer, if you're spotted for life. But not all of them are spotted, so that's something that you can kind of look at. They've got some really cool variations in color. Coming up in front of us, walking away from us right now, you can see quite a few of our water buck. Now I know I'm not supposed to tell you to look at a lady's rear end, but if you do take a peek at all these ladies' rear ends right here, you can see they've all got a perfect circle. And actually we do have 2 males right here on the far end. Everyone else looks like ladies, but you can see males have that nice circle on that rear end as well. When I hear the name buck, I think of a deer species, like a male deer, we've got female deer right here, a doe. We've got a male white-tailed deer right here. Oh, and there's a couple more on our left-hand side over here. You see a couple more babies over here as well. It's just a rush for breakfast over here as everybody comes on the road. Definitely one of the exciting times about being out here, just being completely surrounded by animals. So now we'll be coming into our 4th pasture, which is our largest pasture, our preserved pasture. Also houses our tallest animals. That road that you see curving through there, you can see a pretty good amount of giraffes over there already. I like to kind of point them out from here because like you've seen, these guys are pretty food motivated, so you can see some are already running over here to say hello. And then just to the left you can see more of the fallow deer as well. So with our European red deer, that's going to be Europe's largest deer species out there. Also our largest deer species. Our last pasture, then after you see this little spread, that's when you start to see those really big palmate formations growing.
As he mentioned earlier, the European red deer are the largest deer here at Fossil Rim, but they are actually the 4th largest deer in the
A couple extra rules for our giraffes, everyone. So they are one animal we can hand feed for here. He likes to get really close to us. We're going to cover up our cubs when he gets close. He likes to go right for your cubs. We don't reach out to pet these guys, and we stay a little bit on the quieter side. We'll have a really good time out here with our giraffes.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. That's dad!
Many over here, these guys are going to be reticulated giraffes. Dads are the baby squirrels that you see hanging out there. These guys are ruminators, similar to cows in a lot of different. These guys, are ruminators, so they take that food. Hey man, you have some manners this morning. And it's unsafe to reach up and pet these guys because they've got a large head, large neck, weighing somewhere in that 400 to 600 pound range. Purple color is because these guys, males, can eat about 50 to 75 pounds of food a day. That's a whole lot of leaves if you're eating it. So that kind of blue tongue out there. It's almost between like a blue and a purple color. Like I said, females will be a little bit smaller, closer to that 12 to 14 foot range. Hey buddy.
Oh my god!
They don't typically battle with theirs, so you won't see near as large buildings. Now these things, they're kind of like pseudo horns, not necessarily there, but they're a lot smaller than they are. Yeah, we got Shiner right here. So we've got 2 males around us. All the other giraffes you see are females. This is our breeding male versus our non. Ossicones will calcify onto that skull and attach to the skull.
Oh my god, ew, ew, ew!
Females will be more in that 12 to yeah. Oh boy, he's extra slobbery right now. These guys, the reason we can hand feed them is they don't really bite. They only have teeth on that lower portion of the front of their jaw. They don't have teeth on the upper portion. So babies will be born somewhere in about that 4 to 5 foot region. So this is Waffles right here. Waffles! 7-year mark, maybe just under, just over, I think. And then everyone else is going to be in there. This is where we like to keep. 11 right now, including our 4 babies. We can hold the ladies very long before we pop the baby out. And he's got 4 more baby giraffes out on the ground next spring as well. So we've got our cafe. It doesn't open until 9:30. The other one's a month.
10 minutes break. How's it so far?
It was good until the giraffe part.
Time is 9:20. Stopped in between for 10 minutes break. Here we have cafe, gift store, but all this will open by 9:30. This is the nature store, Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. We can take one. So this is open now. There is another cafe. I don't know whether that is open now. Right? So this is the Overlook cafe. Very beautiful location. There is an aerial view of this Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. Very nice view from here.
Alright guys, if you didn't get enough time up here, like I said, it's really easy to get back up here after the tour. Only takes about 5 minutes. You end up in this little parking lot over here and you can hang out as long as you would like. Children's Education Center, really cool place to hang out. I know it says children's, but I like going in there. We've got some goats and some sheep you can get in there and pet. So what comes up must come down. So the first thing we're going to do is go down the big hill we came up. You get a pretty good view coming off to your right hand side. It is what I consider to be our third best view. Left that you can see a little fawn. Right, a couple little fawns right there at the base of those trees. You can see a little see our giraffe. It looks like animal care came by and put out giraffe breakfast, so you can see all of them over there eating from their giraffe tower. Our babies are just getting interested in food. When we didn't have winged giraffes, the giraffes eat. Going to be our roan antelope. We saw our roan in that first pasture. They were the ones that were located on our right hand side in that pasture. So here's our second herd of these guys. His horns are a little bit thicker and they're a little bit longer as well. So that's our breeding bull for this area. Much batting 1,000. Everybody out here is either pregnant or just had babies. So he is doing his species a good thing over here. A couple female fallow deer. Looks like some pretty young females over here on our right hand side. If you do look in front of us, you'll see we've got our red deers. Is our 70s guys. You can see they've all got some bell bottoms on, rocking some fringe going down the neck here. A lot of guys tell me these animals look like a big goat, but they are actually going to be Africa's only wild sheep species. Now these guys, being the Hartman's mountain zebras, a couple things that make them different than other zebras. Of course, they're mountain zebras. They climb up and down the mountains all day long. Their stripes only go about 3/4 of the way around that stomach or that barrel that they have. They don't go completely on the underside. Zoos have breeding stock of these guys. We were able to breed these guys out, get them back out into the wild. So going from extinct in the wild in the 70s from that levels, and it's really exciting to be able to bring any animal back from that extinction list. They're one of the smaller animals in the pasture. They also have a large Napoleon. They will move those tiny little sharp horns forward and poke anything out of the way. Now, with these guys right here, a lot of times you know this is a desert species, and they are. These guys actually went extinct in the wild in the in the 19th. This was your introduction to gas-powered jeeps, high-powered rifles, automatic rifles over in Africa. So a lot of these versus coming out here, you get to see more of that herd mentality of the animals. You saw when we were feeding today, they really do stick together as a herd, even in mass confusion, whole lot of food. So you get to see some unique things out there, and you get to see some other species interaction that you wouldn't typically see in a zoo. So a little bit of a different or more unique experience out there. Perception of just how big roadrunners are. They're faster than I do, but they can typically only hit that about 300 to 400 yards. So imagine about 3 or 4 football fields. With this guy right here, a couple things that we can point out. If you look over there, you see how big that tail is? That tail weighs about 10% of that body weight. Males will be somewhere in about that 90 to 110 pound range. Females will be in about that 60 to 70 pound range. But if you imagine a 100-pound cheetah has about a 10-pound tail. You know, like I said, these guys are fast. So what happens is these guys, you know, if you're running 70 miles an hour, you probably don't want to fall over. So being able to balance yourself. So you can see that big old tail that I was just talking about. You can see how big, how fluffy that is. If you do see her walk, look at those hips. Hey, sweet girl. How you doing, mamas? If you look at those hips, you can see how she kind of has some sway, a little bit of sass in that walk. So what that does, if you've ever seen cheetahs running, you know, they can almost turn on a dime. Seems like they can turn on like a 90-degree angle when they're running. So what that is it's almost on like a wobble or like a swivel. Along with that tail weighing so much, she can flick that tail, which can move that hip, which turns that body at those upper speeds. It's one of the reasons that they're so agile. So if you look over here, you can see we don't have really big fences. And the reason, like I said, they want to be on the ground. So So they miss a lot of that grabbing ability that a lot of your other big cats have. So you can see, if you look on the right hand side, you can see that house over there. That's Tom Mantzel's house, our original owner. He lived out here for quite a while. We had an ownership change in the late 80s, and then we moved over into a non-profit in the early 2000s. Most tiniest little roller coaster over here. Of how and where fossils would form. You can see some different color variations, some different texture variations. You know, an animal would die, especially this area being covered in water, go down to the bottom of the water. It would be covered in sand, still calcium, magnesium, all sorts of minerals, and that's what would preserve that fossil for us to find all these years later. Kind of like a snapshot into the past for us to find all these millions of years. Middle of the road is going to be one of our scimitar horned oryx. You can see a couple of them, cactuses. You can see some throughout over here. These guys are actually extinct in the wild. Actually, pull forward. That 200 mark of babies over the last couple of years. So we've got enough numbers in the wild now to get them off. So you can line some pellets up right there on the edge, kind of the same way we did with our emus. But the big thing to remember is this is the world's largest bird. She is a little bit more aggressive than our emus.
Oh no.
So definitely make sure you put those pellets down, and then you make sure your fingers are out of the way. If you look at those pellets and look at your fingers, very similar in looks, especially to her.
Yes.
So definitely make sure your fingers are out of the way. Males will be about 8 foot tall, closer to that 8 foot mark, about 300 to 350 pounds. They'll also have that white neck and those black body feathers. So she doesn't have teeth, but she's got a pretty strong beak where she can definitely get some fingers. So make sure your fingers are out of the way when you do go to put up some pellets. She's pretty fast.
I am scared.
Now she's got big, beautiful eyes, but imagine that brain is smaller than those eyes. Now I'm not saying she's not smart. There's just a couple things on her mind, like pellets and shiny things. You know, I mentioned earlier she's only got 2 toes. Well, that's impressive. On those 2 toes, she can hit top speeds of about 45 miles per hour. She's a little bit more of a long distance runner. She can hit about 30.
Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Oh.
Pretty accurate and pretty fast. Alright, we'll take off and see a few more. It's open because she likes to let us know she is the lady in charge. A lot of your animals, if you think about animals when they get scared, even think about like dogs and cats, that hair goes up on the back of their neck. Animals, when they're scared or they want to show you that they're in charge, they get larger. See her fluff those big old wings out. So we've got southern white rhinos on our right and left. It looks like we've got Kahari, our male, sitting out over there. We've got our 3 females right here in this little herd right here, or crash. And then we've got Miss and Billy, one of our females, on the left. Now with rhinos, so we've got our southern white rhinos. And if you do look out here between all 5 of our rhinos, you can see they are all very gray. We call them southern white rhinos, and we put it in the science books and went about our ways. Well, years and years later, it turns out we figured out we finally mistranslated that word. They don't look over at us, but if you could do, like you can see with Ursula right here, she's got her big old, what I call her independent radar. That's those ears that they have moved over our direction. Even Miss and Billy's been moving her ear over here. They know we're here. They're a little bit more short-sighted on horns, and if you look out here, you can see everyone's kind of got a different shape of horn. Size, shape. Those horns are made out of keratin, exact same thing that our fingernail and hair is made out of. Theirs is just a little bit more of a hard snack or something like that. But I do want to thank y'all for coming out here and hanging out here with us. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Drive safe wherever you're going to or coming from.
We enjoyed a lot.
Well, good. I'm glad. Y'all come out and see us again.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Done with safari. Hope you like this episode. With this, we are ending this episode here. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.